Homeowners confront repairman after a hidden camera catches his outrageous behavior. Having a good relationship with a repairman requires trust, not just because you're letting a stranger into your home, but because you're at least partially reliant on their knowledge of the issue to accurately gauge the potentially hefty cost of repair. One woman in particular wasn't so sure that her repairman had her best interests at heart. So, to get to the bottom of things, she hired a news team of investigators to place hidden cameras inside her house. And boy, oh boy, what they found will make you suspicious. Paying someone else to do work inside your house actually requires a lot of trust. You often have no idea who's trying to rip you off. This was the worry of one homeowner who was concerned that cleaning companies had taken advantage of her in the past. Eventually, she reached out to none other than Inside Edition for help. Curiosity piqued, and they were happy to send over a team of investigative journalists to help her find out if her worst suspicions were true. For their investigation, the Inside Edition team decided to call two companies that specialized in ventilation cleaning. While this selection might have seemed a bit random, there was a method to their madness. Vents have a tendency to accumulate a lot of dust over time, and the team wanted to see how thorough of a job the hired workers would do when no one was around to supervise them. The vents in this woman's home actually had very little dust and just needed a basic cleaning, nothing more. The team knew that if the cleaners said any differently, they were trying to scam her. So the investigative team got to work. They placed hidden cameras all over the home and wired it so they could watch the workers from a room upstairs. If anything suspicious happened, they would see it all. The surveillance team even installed a one-way mirror in the kitchen so they could monitor the workers from inside the same room without them ever knowing. Soon enough, it was time to wait and see. The team hoped they wouldn't catch anyone slacking off, but they couldn't be so sure. Not everyone out there is eager to pull a scam, but unfortunately it does happen from time to time. The plan was to ask the two companies to look at the same vents and give the news reporter, who was pretending to be the homeowner, an estimate on how much the job would cost. Then they could see how their numbers compared with what it should cost. After the cameras were in place, the first worker showed up and seemed eager to begin. On the surface, it certainly didn't seem like he had any immediate plan to pull one over on this homeowner. After explaining to the worker what she needed, the reporter, who was disguised as the homeowner, left. Meanwhile, upstairs, the team began to watch as the vent cleaner got to work. The repairman immediately climbed into the home's attic where the ventilation shaft was located, but it was what he did next that surprised everyone. He spent the first few minutes examining a nearby pool cue. Why? After he lost interest in the billiards equipment, he finally moved to the reason he was supposed to be there. Isn't it amazing what people will get up to when they think no one's watching them? To the shock of the news team, he turned on his flashlight, briefly shined it inside the vent without ever peeking his head in, and then just left. The team was appalled. Clearly, he'd just been stalling for time up there. However, the worst was yet to come. Next, the repairman sat down in the kitchen with the undercover reporter so they could discuss the cost of service. She couldn't wait to hear what he had to say. Even though the team knew there wasn't much dust in the vents, the man did virtually no work. He still tried to convince the reporter that it was filthy. Even worse, he claimed it was going to cost upwards of $700 to clean. Soon after the man gave his price, it was time to tell him what was happening. A cameraman stepped into the kitchen while the reporter explained that they'd been watching his every move, and they knew he was lying. Completely mortified, the man ran off, and the team was relieved to have exposed him as a fraud. You can bet your bottom dollar this repairman had no idea his actions would ever be caught this way. How unbelievable is that? The repairman had no intention of thoroughly checking the shaft at all. He just wanted the money and assumed that he could get away with anything. If you think that was bad, just wait until you see how the second repairman acted when he thought no one was watching. You'll be blown away by his reaction to being caught on tape. Wow, can you imagine if this owner had to pay $700 for that? It just goes to show that you can never be too careful when hiring people to do a job. Spend your money on services you trust.